also, I just find that the sheer aesthetic of the way the blades are all laid down in a swirl in this kind of rhythmic movement is just something that I can't conceive of anything but some amazingly powerful higher force could do, you know.
And when something this magnificent is such a wonderful gift to us, we have to feel good about ourselves. Wow, we've been given this gift, and we can enjoy it and be grateful for it.
You've got to remember, everybody that walks into that field, the first thing they're going to do is be aware of how they feel. That's what these patterns do. They get you back in touch with that energy that is you, that feeling that's inside. I mean, heck, how long has it been since a lot of these people even contacted that side of themselves? And by going into these patterns, it makes you aware of yourself again. It gets you in touch with that feeling side, because humanity has become a little bit insensitive in a lot of ways. And the patterns are starting to help people to rediscover and redefine that sensitivity so that humanity can work as one again instead of little individual islands.
So how can one actually prove that there is something paranormal, supernatural or extraterrestrial being behind all this? And if there is, what it is?
Many crop circle researchers have been engaged in trying to find differences in the crop and soil inside compared to outside the formations. If this, for example, has been exposed to a heavy electromagnetic force, one should be able to find traces of it.
Most importantly, visual traces can be found on the crop within many circles. Very often you can see where one or several nodes of the actual crop stem has been expanded, so as to be double and sometimes even more as its natural length. This can indicate that the crop has been rapidly heated up and that the humidity inside the stem has been subjected to steam pressure, which in turn has led to the node being stretched. On some of the stem nodes you can also clearly see where the steam has forced its way out and left expulsion cavities. This can be an indication that the crop has been subjected to a rapid and powerful microwave effect.
If you see either of those effects, the chances are very good you're looking at a genuine crop circle. There are a number of changes in the plants that have not been documented scientifically, which may also indicate the likelihood that it's genuine. For instance, the lay, the detail of the lay of the crop. But that has not been evaluated scientifically. It's more just what people notice, you know, from being in them so much.
Sometimes I've seen areas where the plants are bent over, say 10-15 centimetres off the ground, so that to walk through the formation it's crunching under your feet like snow. So you think, well, somebody hasn't been here before.
Another sign one can find, especially in wheat, is when the corn has dried and turned golden in late summer. In the standing crop, the ears are stiffened in a bent position due to their weight and are impossible to straighten out. But within the crop circle, the ears have actually been straightened out and then stiffened again in this position. The research group BLT Research, which is running scientific publicized research on crop circles, is also engaged in a systematic trial of the soil and have often found strange metal particles in the upper layers of the soil within the crop circles. A specialist from America is analyzing these tests.
And he pulverizes the dirt and then runs it through various grates, and with very strong magnets draws out the magnetic particles, weighs them. Well, weighs the whole soil sample first, then weighs the amount of particles, so we know how many particles per gram of soil. Then, once we've done that, extracted them, we send them off to the West Coast to a mineralogist who does SEMEDS. And the idea then is to determine what they're made of. The soil work indicates the presence of a magnetic iron, tiny little spherules of magnetic iron. And it's not only their presence which is of interest, it's the manner in which they're distributed. Frequently around the periphery of these circles, sometimes distributed linearly. indicating a delivery system that's fairly sophisticated.
This research group has also found interesting effects tied to the growth of the crop within the circles.
Some of the results clearly show that when those energies, when this crop circle making system impacts the plants, if they're not mature, if the seed is not formed, what happens is that those seeds are dehydrated, they don't mature properly, and they don't produce new seeds, new plants. If that were to happen all over the world, simultaneously we'd lose our food stock. Obviously that's important. In addition, the germination work shows that when these energies impact the plants, later on, when the seed is fully developed, then you get this very energized effect. Levengood and Burke were able to demonstrate that that was due to these very precise electrical pulses. And out of that grew their discovery of how to replicate that effect.
The crop circles have consequently shown the way for a new method of increasing the growth rate in crop, independent of environmentally dangerous chemicals, just by giving the crop seeds a short controlled dose of electrical pulses before sowing. The method is being tried out now in the USA and is, to say at least, extremely interesting. So that an electromagnetic field of some sort or another is part of the crop circle phenomenon seems to be quite possible. Remains of the electromagnetic field can quite often be registered by using different types of equipment on site.
On a few occasions, on what we consider to be genuine formation, the meter has started off normal at background level, cosmic radiation from the heavens, and all of a sudden it's shot up to 10, 15 times.
Strangely enough, Dave, we went in there, David was stood there with the meter, it's just normal background, about 0.5, was it, something like that, and then all of a sudden, it shot up and went
10
up.
or 12.
It's about 10 or 12, which is maybe 20 times normal background radiation. So we then thought we would walk outside the formation and see if the reading would alter. And we got about 15 paces or so, perhaps, and the meter dropped right back to 0.5, which was normal background.
People with all sorts of instrumentation come into fields and find battery drains, cameras sometimes don't work, phones go off, video cameras stop running.
Every year I bring my camera here, and every year I get it fixed, and Canon are getting fed up, and it's working outside the crop circle. I bring it into the crop circle, tapes jammed, total, it's a write-off. This is trying to tell me something about some kind of event definitely going on here. Whatever is happening, or whatever's making these things, man or beast, or whatever, something is affecting, there's a signal, something's trying to tell us something, that there's hello knocking on the door, knocking on the head. Something's going on here. Needs investigation. We need to pay careful attention to what's going on here, and be careful.
Several other methods are also used to examine the effects of this phenomenon.
It suddenly dawned on me that maybe if I buried water, little bottles of water, as soon as possible after a formation had appeared, if I buried them about 2 inches deep, they were only little 25 ml bottles of water.
Research by burying small bottles of water for a period of 10 days gave very interesting results. Frequency analyzers showed that the water samples had altered their frequency pattern differently from the control samples outside the circles. Furthermore, the bacteria content was much higher within the formation. A third analysis method showed that the water had increased its ability in so-called molecular memory.